My weaknesses? I'm just too perfectionistic and I work too much. This is probably one of the worst answers to this question, and I would love to be able to say that I have never said that in an interview. In this video, I help you to find your own answer to this question and, much more importantly, reflect on your strengths and weaknesses to find a job that you love. If you prepare them properly, you will understand yourself much better and how you grow towards your own goals. It will help you much more than just getting the job. The question about your strengths or weaknesses is a very common interview question. We interviewers use this question to check if there are any obvious deal breakers of hiring you. But it is also used to check how self-aware or self-reflected you are. I believe it is fundamental to reflect on those questions to find a job that suits your goals and needs, and it will also set you up for success right from the beginning of your new job. Not knowing a good answer to the question about your strengths and weaknesses also sends a very bad signal to the interviewer. And if you still get an offer, it will be much lower, because it shows that you are not as reflected and experienced as you could be. First, let's talk about your strengths. It is important that you know them and that you have relevant ones in mind for the job you are applying to. For example, if you apply for a front-end developer role, you might want to highlight your technical ability, your design interests, or your good understanding of the customers. For a more back-end related role, your attention to detail, structured thinking, and a focus on quality and reliability might be more important. Now coming to your weaknesses, being open, honest, and reflected about them is important, but it is also important to not shoot yourself in the foot during the interview. Having a plan in place for addressing and how you're working on your weaknesses is also a good idea. This shows how self-aware you are and that you are proactive about improving them over time. Let's now talk about how you find your own strengths and weaknesses and structure them clearly. To start, take a blank piece of paper and write down what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses. Now just brainstorm for 15 minutes. Just write down everything that comes to your mind without thinking about whether you want to use it later or not. Think about your career, what you're good at, what you struggled with, where you got maybe feedback to improve. And this is just for you. No one will read it, so there's no need to filter it yet. After that, you have a very long but unstructured list. The next step is to sort all those strengths and weaknesses by how important you think they are. If you are happy with how you sorted your strengths and weaknesses, take the 3 to 5 most important ones and link them to specific experiences or achievements. This is important because if you're just going to an interview and saying something like, "I'm very organized," it will have very little impact. If you can link it to a specific experience, so you're saying, for example, "In my last job, I took the lead for a long-running initiative improving our product's documentation, including many teams, which taught me to become very organized." It will prove your point and show why you are so organized. After your strengths, you also need to do the same with your weaknesses. Take the 2 or 3 most important ones, but also check that they are not deal breakers for the job you're applying to. So as I said in the beginning, to say that I'm too perfectionistic or I'm work too much is just trying to sneak in a strength in the question about your weaknesses. This will immediately leave a very bad impression on the interviewer, because not only did you not really answer this question, but also the interviewer didn't get to know you fully and doesn't know where you might need support in your future job. Only pick actual and honest weaknesses. Explain them on a piece of paper and also how you're already working on them and how you plan on improving them in the future. As I promised, those are not only questions to prepare for the interview, but also to reflect on your own. What do you want to be good at? Which strengths do you want to rely on? And what weaknesses do you want to work on in the future? This is a chance to reflect on how you see yourself and how you want to present yourself to others. Do you, for example, enjoy being the most structured person on the team, or do you think giving public speeches is something important to you? Reflect, define, and sort your strengths by what you actually want to do in your next job. Similarly, focus on your weaknesses you actually think are important to improve for yourself. We all have weaknesses we want to work on, and it is important to understand what you want to work on. Do you, for example, think communication is important to you? Then focus on that. To grow, it is important to consciously pick what you want to work on in the next years. If you are clear on this, it will give you a strong narrative on why you picked this weakness and why you want to work on it. I will link my worksheet under this video, and it will give you a good start to reflect on your own strengths and weaknesses. Lastly, as I suggest in all my videos, you need to practice it. Talking about your strengths can feel like bragging, and you might feel very uncomfortable talking about your weaknesses. But as I said in my other videos, you don't want to be in this situation the first time during the interview. Finally, it's important to remember that everyone has strengths and weaknesses. Don't be too hard on yourself. Try to focus on the positive. If you show your strengths and weaknesses, you're just showing that you are also a human. In the interview, you want to come across as confident and self-reflected and not as self-deprecating. So don't talk yourself down too much. Let me know in the comments if you have any more questions I can maybe answer. I'm especially interested in the jobs you're preparing for, and I want to celebrate with you once you got the dream job, so definitely write that in the comments. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.